The materials which I'll be using for reference are Why is Everyone on TikTok Now?, The Algorithmized-Self, and The Future of Self-Making on Social Media by Aprajit Bandari and Sarah Bimo. And as well, The Culture of Connectivity, A Critical History of Social Media by Jose Van Dijk. And to note, the content which I'll primarily be focusing on will include the Algorithmized-Self and the networked self. We conclude video 2 with the idea that profit motive, which is an aspect of media ownership and advertising filter, structurally set up a culture of distractions, which in turn turned us into a homogeneous mass ornament, which kind of really means that we have become de-individualized. But now that social media has evolved, it's no longer just about distractions, but about the best fit distraction. This is important to note too, because this has led to distractions which are harder to evade as they become tailored towards your interests more, and this is due to your interaction with media, specifically social media. The algorithmic self is like the dark side of creating the networked self, where the networked self is described by making or building social connections. The algorithmized self is a lot more self-centered, where the interaction is not with other people, but with algorithms based around you that is actually a result of you interacting with the algorithm itself. And here we can understand that the network self, here I'll put this down so I can just use my hands. The network self is kind of like the negated version of the algorithmized self, as the network self focuses on building connections. The algorithmized self focuses on you more so interacting with content and building a bubble around yourself that's solely based on your interests. And so we can see, I specifically noted at the bottom the contrasts. This one focuses on building connections with people, and this one focuses on building connections with content. This happens due to two common mechanisms that all social media share. The first being the For You page, and the second being content-oriented focus. The For You page makes you aware that the algorithm is changing based on you, and therefore, the more you interact with that page, the more you'll get content that is solely based around you. Therefore, it gives you an outlet to keep on interacting with content which you enjoy and influencing your page, keeping you trapped in the bubble. The content-oriented focus is another one of these mechanisms because it separates the context from the enjoyment. Therefore, you could have a complete different view than the other person, but because you liked one of the videos, it'll recommend you more content, even if it's not totally in your interest. This kind of creates the mass ornament, as it creates de-individualization. It makes it so everybody's shown everything and not just solely what their interests are based around. And I kind of just draw this down here to help you understand exactly the fact that if content is flowing infinitely, it will therefore lead to 100% interest in that content because it's always forever changing, especially if it's based around the algorithmized self and noting the For You page. And therefore, it'll have 0% boredom there as your interest is peaked. And therefore, you don't think. So, 0% thinking. To draw connections to the first video, this is what could be called the most prominent loss of aura, as there is no longer any unique presence left. Instead now, this presence is only filled with repeat content that's only focuses to see if you identify with that specific piece of content and not the whole network that's attached to that content. And this knowledge is essential for the future of our society's relationship with technology. The goal of media is not always to educate or entertain, but to structurally set up the elimination of boredom. Because as long as you're bored, you're not thinking. As long as you're not thinking, we have a chance to sell an ad. And specifically, when you realize this, you gain the knowledge to have control over this aspect. This control allows you to turn off that perfectly tailored distraction to you, as now you're actively seeking original thought and that is what the algorithm is designed to suppress. And when you realize this factor, it makes it so you can opt out of the perfect distraction, of the best fit distraction for you. As since you're aware of it, you can start actively seeking your original thought and stop going after what's recommended to you based on what the algorithm has designed, because the algorithm is trying to suppress your original thought and instead recommend what it thinks is best for you based on what you enjoy looking at. Therefore, we conclude through this is that knowledge is control in the future of media and technology. Thank you. This is my third video in the series of 3 on how I talk about culture and technology intersecting. Yeah, I hope you have a nice day.